Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
5 talking points from Milan San Remo 2022. Murray triumphs with a descent for the ages. 30 years on from Sean Kelly's famous descent of the Poggio, Matej Mohorič, Bahrain Victorious, produced his own descending masterclass to win this year's Milan San Remo. Mohorič is renowned for his prowess going downhill, and he put all his skills to use in a breathless, daredevil finale. It was hair-raising to witness, as the Slovenian bunny hopped out of the gutter, virtually bounced off a wall, and very nearly slipped his chain, yet somehow stayed upright to take victory. For all the talk of the battle of the puncheurs on the Poggio and the sprinters on the Via Roma, Mohorič's ride showed how the more niche skill of descending can also determine the winner of La Primavera. It was also meticulously planned too, as he described at the finish how he had been targeting this race since the winter, and was using a mountain bike dropper post with this descent specifically in mind. From a rider credited for popularising the supertuck position, this result proves him to be one of cycling's great innovators, as well as one of the boldest. To summit the Poggio with a deficit to a quality leading quartet of Tadej Pogačar, UAE Team Emirates, Wout van Aert, Jumbo-Visma, Søren Kragh Andersen, DSM, and Matej van der Poel, Alpecin Fenix, and then go on to win solo simply by descending faster than everyone else was a truly remarkable ride, and one that will surely be remembered as one of the all-time great descents. Pogačar can quite finish off Team's good work despite the devastation caused by his UAE Team Emirates domestiques on the suppressor. For once Tadej Pogačar wasn't able to take victory. There was much speculation before the race as to whether Pogačar would attack on the suppressor, but instead the team's tactic was to use their domestiques to shed as many riders as possible, with first January Polanc and then Davide Formolo burning themselves to cause as much damage as possible. They did a great job, reducing the peloton to little more than 30 riders, considerably smaller than it normally is at this stage of the race, and with the likes of Alexander Kristoff, Intermarché Wanty Gobert Materiaux, Fabio Jakobsen, Quick-Step Alpha Vinyl, Jasper Philipsen, Alpecin Fenix, Elia Viviani, Filippo Ganna, Tom Pidcock, all Ineos Grenadiers, and, due to an earlier mechanical, Peter Sagan, Total Energies, all dropped. Now it was left to Pogačar to attack what was left of the peloton on the Poggio, and that the Slovenian did with a total of 4 accelerations. But the gradients weren't quite steep enough for him to make the difference, and each time a rider, usually Wout van Aert, was able to latch onto his wheel, prompting him to sit up. In fact, it was an attack from Søren Kragh Andersen that instead forced the final selection over the top, joined by Pogačar, Van Aert and Matej van der Poel. That quartet was quickly caught by a charging Mohorič and then several other riders, however, and Pogačar ultimately had to settle for 5th place from a small group sprint. It's a good result for a rider who isn't well suited to this race, but still feels like a disappointment given his world-beating form in recent weeks. Van der Poel is back with a bang for any other rider, finishing 3rd in a race with the caliber and competitiveness of Milan San Remo, on what was their very first appearance of the season following 5 long months out with injury, would be a huge surprise, especially considering their appearance was only announced a matter of days before. But we've come to expect the unexpected from Matej van der Poel, so much so that, despite the circumstances, a 3rd-place finish actually feels a little disappointing. Much to the trepidation of all his rivals, it became increasingly clear that the Dutchman was already back up and running during the day, especially when he survived the furious pace of the suppressor right up at the front of the peloton. Then on the Poggio he looked at his very best, following all the moves and cresting the summit as part of the leading quartet. The fact he managed to win the small sprint for 3rd place also proved he already has his sprinting legs, and may leave him frustrated at allowing both Mohorič and later Anthony Turgis, Total Energies, up the road to take 1st and 2nd respectively, a result that, it should be said, was arguably the best yet in Turgis' ever-improving career. But 3rd place is still a career-best finish for Van der Poel at Milan San Remo, and shows that he is back to his best already. With a whole cobbled campaign to come, It looks like the Dutchman will be a major protagonist this spring after all. Van Aert left isolated in the finale despite having teammates the quality of Primo Roglic and Christophe Laporte to support him. Wout van Aert found himself in much the same